So we are now on the topic of pledge and mortgage. So first things first, let us look into the similarities of pledge and mortgage. So this involves the provisions of the Civil Code which apply to both pledge and mortgage. So when I say mortgage, I am referring to both chattel mortgage and real mortgage, or real estate mortgage. Okay. So real estate mortgage may also be called a real mortgage. Okay, class. So, essential requisites of these types of contracts. Number one, that they be constituted to secure the fulfillment of a principal obligation. Okay, pledge is actually prenda. Mortgage is also prenda. Okay, so i-picture mo na lang. There can be no pledge or mortgage unless you have no principal obligation, which usually is a loan. Okay, but it is not necessary that the principal obligation is always loan, because pledge and mortgage can secure all kinds of obligations. Kaya lang, ang pinaka-common is loan. Okay, there can be no pledge or mortgage or prenda if there is no principal obligation. Okay, di pwede magprenda ka dahil trip mo lang, wala ka naman utang, trip nyo lang, di pwede, because pledge and mortgage are accessory contracts. They cannot stand alone. There can be no pledge or mortgage without a principal obligation that they are securing. Okay, so that is one essential element of pledge and mortgage. They are accessory contracts. Okay. By the way, class, this pledge and mortgage, okay, is included in the wide term, in the broad term, which they call credit transactions. Okay. So sa credit transactions, maraming topic. Kaya lang, the CPA licensure examination terms of reference and syllabus does not anymore include them. Okay, like deposit, guarantee, of course, loan. So for purposes of this subject, we'll only cover pledge and mortgage, which includes real estate mortgage and chattel mortgage. So these pledge and mortgage are accessory contracts, and they are used to fulfill a principal obligation. So that if there is no principal obligation, there can be no pledge or mortgage. Number two, element or requisite that the pledger or mortgager shall be the absolute owner of the thing pledged or mortgage. Okay. So ang nagprenda must be the absolute owner. Okay. Hindi pwede magprenda ka ng hindi naman sa'yo. Okay, by the way, class, sa contract of pledge, okay, ang nagprenda is called pledger, while ang tumanggap is called the pledgee. Okay, so pledger and pledgee. While sa mortgage, ang nagprenda is called the mortgager, and ang tumanggap o ng prenda is called a mortgagee. Okay, so sa mortgager and pledger, sila yung nagprenda. So, applying your obligations and contracts, the pledger and the mortgager are sila yung nag-constitute ng obligation. Okay? So, sila yung may obligation. Therefore, sila ay debtors. Ang creditors ay ang pledgee and mortgagee. Okay? So, the pledger or mortgager is required to be the absolute owner of the thing pledged or mortgage. Just an advanced lang na concept. Ang pledge class involves movables or personal property. Okay. Sa pledge class is prenda siya na you 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 always when you say pledge, I want you to think about the pawn shop. Okay? So if prenda ka sa pawn shop, dalhin mo yung thing. Dalhin mo sa pawn shop. Yung relo, yung gold bracelet mo, yung gold earrings mo, dalhin mo sa pawn shop. And then the pawn shop will take possession of those things, then bigyan ka ng pera na loan. Okay? It is necessary sa pledge class na i-surrender mo yung thing. Okay? While sa mortgage, may dalawang klase. Chattel mortgage involves movables or personal things just like pledge. The difference is that sa chattel mortgage, you do not need to surrender possession of the thing. For example, okay, nag-utang ka sa appliance center ng refrigerator or freezer or aircon, or sa motor company, nag-utang ka ng motor, or sa car company, nag-utang ka ng kotse. Okay, because of your utang, yung inutang mo na thing will be mortgaged back to them. So that if you cannot pay, okay, they can alienate the thing that you have mortgaged. So sa chattel mortgage class, okay, yung thing is hindi necessarily surrender doon sa mortgagee. Yung kotse, yung motor, yung refrigerator, yung aircon, yung freezer is ginagamit ng mortgagor. Okay, hindi niya kailangan i-surrender doon sa mortgagee. Yun ang kaibahan ng pledge at chattel mortgage. Now, sa real estate mortgage class, of course, we are talking about immovables, land, building. Of course, obviously, hindi mo pwede i-deliver yan. Okay? So, magprenda ka sa bangko, punta ka sa bangko, i-prenda, real estate mortgage mo yung lupa, hindi mo pwede ilagay sa sako, dalhin sa bangko. Okay? So, necessary sa real estate mortgage na ang possession ng land, building, or immovables will be with the mortgagor and not with the mortgagee. Okay? Itatak lang yun sa likod ng titulo, ang mortgage. Why? Because it is impossible to physically carry the thing and transfer it to the possession of the mortgagor. A mortgagee, I mean. Okay? Number 3 requisite, that the persons constituting the pledge or mortgage have the predisposal of their property. In the absence thereof, that they be legally authorized for the purpose. Okay? So, sa contract of pledge and mortgage, number 1, okay, must be used to secure the principal obligation. Number 2, yung mortgagor and pledgor must be the absolute owner, okay, and that owner has the predisposal of their property, or they are legally authorized for that purpose. Okay. For example, if you are the owner, tapos na-prenda mo na dati, hindi mo na pwede i-prenda ulit because you do not have, even if you are the owner, you do not anymore have the predisposal of your property because it has been previously pledged or mortgaged. Okay. Unless you're authorized by the previous pledgee or mortgagee that you can pledge or mortgage it again. Okay. And take note that third persons who are not parties to the principal obligation may also secure the latter by pledging or mortgaging their own property. For example, you and I enter into the contract of loan. Okay. As security for the loan, you ask your mother, okay, na iprenda yung kanyang gamit sa akin. Okay. So third person who is not a party to the principal obligation, which in our example is loan. Okay. So even if your mother is not part of the loan, she can pledge or mortgage her property to secure our principal obligation, which in our example is a loan. So third persons can be mortgagors and pledgors for as long as the requirement is met. That is, if it is a third person who will pledge or mortgage, it is necessary that that third person is the owner of the thing that will be pledged. That it is also required that that third person has the predisposal of the property that he or she is planning to pledge or mortgage. Okay. So therefore, the pledger and the mortgager can be one of the parties or the debtor, or it can be the another person. For as long as kung kahit sino man sa kanila ang mortgager or pledger, it is required that he is the absolute owner of the said property and he has the predisposal of that property. Last requirement, it is the essence of this contract, pledge and mortgage, that when the principal obligation becomes due, the things in which the pledge or mortgage consists may be alienated for the payment to the creditor. Okay. Would like you to take note of the word alienated. Alienated. Okay. Ibig sabihin lang ng number 4 class. If the principal obligation is already due and you cannot pay it, you cannot extinguish it because you have no means, okay, the pledgee or the mortgagee may alienate para sa siya for the payment to the creditor. Take note of the meaning of this alienate kasi. Alienate means to move for the sale of the thing in order to collect the amount of the claim, okay, from the proceeds. Take note lang, ang ibig sabihin ng alienate is to move for the sale. Okay, move for the sale. Alienate means if the debtor cannot pay, then the creditor can take that thing and sell it at public auction. And the proceeds will be used to pay the principal obligation. Yan ibig sabihin ng alienate class, ha? Because sa next slide, there is a prohibition against pactum commissorium. Okay. The creditor cannot appropriate. Take note class. This time, ang ginamit na word is appropriate. The things given by way of pledge or mortgage or dispose of them. Any stipulation to the contrary is null and void. Ano ibig sabihin ng appropriate? Appropriate means to automatically own the thing. Okay. This is what we call pactum commissorium or sometimes called pacto commissorio. Other authors would call it pacta commissoria. Okay. These three terminologies are one and the same. Okay. So it is a stipulation whereby the thing pledged or mortgage shall automatically, take note, automatically become the property of the creditor in the event of non-payment of the debt. So this is automatic appropriation. This is forbidden by law. Okay. Take note class, sa board exam, ang panlito dito is yung word na alienate at saka appropriate. Pag sinabing alienate, if hindi makabayad yung debtor, the creditor can alienate the thing. Ibig sabihin, he can take the thing and sell it at public auction. Okay, and from the proceeds, doon kukunin ang pambayad sa principal obligation. While in appropriate means to automatically become the owner. Okay, yun ang pactum commissorium bawal. Ibig sabihin, if the debtor cannot pay, it is not allowed that the creditor will take the thing and claim it as his property already. Yun ang bawal. Hindi niya pwede angkinin. Bawal yun. Hindi niya pwede i-appropriate. Hindi pwede automatic na maging sa kanya. Okay? What is allowed is for him to sell the property at public auction. Kapag may bumili, okay, from the proceeds, doon kukunin ang pambayad. Sir, paano kung walang bumili? That is the time, kapag walang bumili, that is the time that the creditor will become the owner of the thing. Okay, we will expound on that when we discuss pledge, chattel, and real mortgage individually. Okay. So, ang requirement is, kailangan ibenta muna sa public auction. Pag may bumili, from the proceeds thereof, you can take the payment from the proceeds. If walang bumili, that is the time that the creditor can take possession of the property and appropriate it for himself. That is the time na pwede niya i-appropriate after public auction pa, but not automatic appropriation na pagka nag-default ng payment, doon automatic, yun ang bawal. Okay? So, I hope you understood that. So, pledge and mortgage is essentially indivisible, even if the principal obligation is divisible. Even if the debtors and the creditors are not solidarily liable. Okay, kahit na jointly liable lang sila, ang debtors and creditors, but the pledge itself or the mortgage itself is indivisible. A pledge or mortgage is indivisible even though the debt may be divided among successors in interest of the debtor or the creditor. Okay. So, for example, debtor, creditor, either one of them namatay, maraming heirs ang natira. Okay. So, kanya-kanya na silang share. Yung isa nagbayad ng utang, hindi pa rin ma-extinguish ang pledge because the whole of the pledge must be extinguished, hindi pwede partial because pledge and mortgage is essentially indivisible. So the debtor's heir, yung may utang, who was paid a part of the debt, cannot ask for the proportionate extinguishment of the pledge or mortgage as long as the debt is not completely satisfied because the pledge and the mortgage is indivisible. So he has to wait for the other heirs to pay before he can ask for the extinguishment of the entire pledge or mortgage. The same is true with the creditor's heir. Pag namatay naman yung creditor, marami siyang heirs. Okay? He cannot return the pledge or cancel the mortgage to the prejudice of other heirs who had not been paid. Okay? So, if one of the heirs ng creditor, sabi niya, ayoko na maningil, o hintayin niya muna yung iba na mabayaran or mag-waive din before the entire pledge or mortgage can be extinguished. Hindi pwede partial. So from this provision, it is expected that there being several things given in mortgage or pledge, each of them guarantees only a determinate portion of the credit. The debtor in this case shall have the right to the extinguishment of the pledge or mortgage at the portion of the debt which each thing is especially answerable is satisfied. So kapag ka maraming things involved, pero naman securing portions of a debt, in that case, pwede siya ma-extinguish insofar only as the portion of the debt which is satisfied by one of the pledge. Okay? The indivisibility of the pledge or mortgage is not affected by the fact that the debtors are not solidarily liable. Na-mention yan kanina. What can be secured by pledge or mortgage? So do not think class that only utang lang pwede secure. All kinds, sabi ng civil code, the contract of pledge or mortgage may secure all kinds of obligation, may they be pure or subject to a suspensive or resolutory condition. This is Article 2091. Take note, ang sabi niya, secure all kinds of obligations. Kaya lang, in actual practice, okay, the usual contract is, the usual principal contract is loan. Okay, usually loan. Pero there is no prohibition to secure other contracts with a pledge or mortgage. For example, you and I agree that you will sing during my birthday. And para ma-secure na magkanta ka na, iprenda mo sa akin ang phone mo. Okay, you can do that. A promise is only a personal right. So if it is only a promise na magprenda, promise na mag-mortgage, okay, hindi pa siya actually pledge or mortgage. It is only a personal right. Meaning, yung nag-promise, pwede, yung gipromisan, can demand doon sa nag-promise na ituloy yung pledge or mortgage back dahil ang promise niya. Okay? So personal lang, sa kanila lang dalawa. Without prejudice to criminal responsibility incurred by him who defrauds another by offering in pledge or mortgage as encumbered things he knew were subject to the same burden, or by misrepresenting himself to be the owner of the same. Ito yan, ganito yan. Okay. Sa pledge class, the date and the description of the thing must be in a public instrument to be valid against third persons. Okay. So, public instrument, dapat nakanotaryo. Nakasulat yung date, kailan yung pledge, and the description of the thing. So that other third persons may also be required to recognize the pledge. In mortgage class, it must be in a public instrument also, and must be registered in the register of deeds to be valid against third persons also. So unless in the naka-instruments pa, naka-notaryo, unless ang mortgage class meaning chattel at saka real estate mortgage must be registered in the register of deeds. Unless gawin yan, okay, third persons may not be expected to respect the pledge or the mortgage because number one, they are not a party to the contract. So para maging valid against third persons, you do this. Okay. Take note lang sa mortgage kasi whether real estate mortgage or chattel mortgage, kahit kotse lang yan, kahit motor, i-register pa rin sa register of deeds. Okay. So, ang register of deeds, hindi lang nagre-record ng mortgage ng lupa, nagre-record din sila ng mortgage ng sasakyan or motor. Basta chattel mortgage. So, this is important. Under the revised penal code, article number 316, okay, estafa is committed by a person who, pretending to be the owner of any real property, shall convey, sell, encumber, or mortgage, or knowing that the real property is encumbered, shall dispose of the same as unencumbered. Estafa class in Filipino means panluloko. Okay. So estafa is not kanang di ka nagbayad ng utang. That is not estafa. Estafa means nanloko ka, nanloko, panluloko. Okay, number 1, sabi ng revised penal code. If you pretend to be the owner of a real property, tapos binenta mo, naniwala yung bumili, then you are liable for estafa. Niloko mo siya. Or, even if sa'yo yung lupa, sabi mo, clean title. Yung si clean title class, hindi na prenda sa bangko, hindi na piyansa doon sa court. Clean title. Clean title means walang nakatatak sa likod ng titulo na prenda or ginawang bill. Sabi mo, oy buyer, you buy this land, this real estate property. Clean title ito, wala itong encumbrances. Encumbrances means mga previous mortgage or gipiyansa mo doon sa court. Yun ang tawag na encumbrance. Sabi mo, buyer, you buy my real property, this is unencumbered. This is clean title. Tapos naniwala yung bumili. Yun pala, nakaprenda sa bangko or nakapiyansa sa korte. O, niloko mo siya. Then, in that case, the vendor will be liable for estafa. Okay? So, this is, I believe, the end of this slide of this presentation. Okay. In our next lectures, we will discuss pledge, chattel mortgage, and real estate mortgage individually.